Hello everyone, welcome to BISP Solutions. I am Preeti Rajani working here as functional consultant. So in our previous session, we discussed the setups related to invoices. And in today's session, I will discuss about payment setups. So let's start with payments today. Let's move to our application first. Here we will see how payment works. So go to Payables Workbench. From here, go to Invoices. Click on Task List. Now go to Create Invoice. Let's create one invoice for payment. Give the number of invoice. Click on Expand Lines. Give the amount here. Select the distribution set. Now go to Invoice Action. Click on Validate. Again, click on Validate. Now you can see here the status as validated. For making payment, you have to approve this invoice. I have enabled the checkbox of Allow Force Approval. So click on Approval. Now click on Force Approve. So now this invoice is validated and approved. Now I have to make payment of this invoice. Go to Invoice Action. Now click on Pay in Full. Here you have to give the bank account details. Click on Submit. You can see here payment has been created. So this was the option of payment, that is pay in full. When you created a invoice in functional currency and you have to make the payment in functional currency, then you can pay from here. In the pay in full option, this option of payment will be available in the page of creating invoice and invoice option. Pay in full from invoice work area, pay a single invoice in full. Using this functionality, you cannot make partial payments. You cannot select multiple invoices here. You can make only single payment in full. For this, invoice should be validated. If approval is required, then it should be approved, and accounting is not mandatory. Without accounting also, it can be paid. Click on Save and Close. For making payment to any supplier, you have to create bank in the application. So let's move to our PPT. How to disbursement bank accounts and payment process profiles are assigned. Oracle Fusion Payments enables you to select documents payables for inclusion in a payment process request. Each document payable selected must be assigned a disbursement bank account and a payment process profile so the payment process request can proceed to the document validation phase of the payment process. The following steps are performed by you or the application to ensure the assignment of disbursement bank account and payment process profile to documents payable. It means you need bank to make payment to your supplier. Also, payment process profile is mandatory before making payment. You select a disbursement bank account and a payment process profile when submitting a payment process request. Payment derives a disbursement bank account and a payment process profile from usage rules. These are the following setups that you have to do in the application before making any payment. You have to create a bank branch, and bank account. These are the tasks through which you can perform these tasks. So let's move to our application to see how practically you can create bank branches and bank accounts. Go to setup and maintenance. Click on task list. Click on manage implementation project. Select the project on which you are working. Here search the task manage bank. Click on this task. Here you can see all three tasks: manage bank branches, manage bank accounts. Bank account will belong to specific branch and then branch will belong to specific bank. Click on manage bank. First we will create bank. Here you can see these are already created banks. For creating new bank, click on create icon. You have to select here the country of the bank. I'm taking it as United States. You have to give the name here, Citibank, Chartered Bank, but for practice purpose, I'm giving any name here. These two are the mandatory fields that I have filled. Now click on save and close. You can see here the bank we created. Now, if you want to create the branch, you can create from here directly, or you can create from this task also, manage bank branches. Search your bank here. Select the data. Now click on create branch. You have to give the branch name here. You have to give the routing number here. If you have any other detail provided to you by your client regarding branch or bank, you can fill here. The mandatory fields has been filled by me. Now click on save and close. This is how we created bank and branch. Now we have to create bank. Click on done. Select this task, manage bank account. Click on go to task option. Click on create icon. The branch that we have created here, you have to select here. You can see here the branch that we created now. You have to give the account name here. You have to give the account number here. You have to give the currency. Select the legal entity here. Legal entity is the owner of the bank account. So I have filled the mandatory fields. Now come to this GL account. Here in this field, you have to select the cash distribution set here. Click on this option. In the accounts, you have to select cash. Click on OK. Click on Save and Close. This is how we created bank, bank branch, and bank account. Now move to our PPT. Payment process profile. If you want to make payment, then process profile is mandatory. From manage payment process profile task, we can create payment process profile. Let's move to our application. Search here, manage payment process profile. Click on this task. Click on go to task option. Click on create icon. Give the name of your payment process profile here. From which date you want to activate this payment process profile, you have to give here. Select the payment file format. I am taking it as standard check format. Processing type. If you want to select it as electronic, you can select it. I am taking it as printed. If you want to specify any payment method for it, you can do it by this option. Or you can give it for all. If you want to select any disbursement bank account specifically, you can select it from here. And if you want to select any business unit specifically, you can select simply by clicking on specify option. And if you want to create payment process profile for any currency, you can click on specify checkbox and can create it from here. I am creating this payment process profile for all. So I've selected all checkboxes here. Now click on save and close. This is how you created bank account, bank branch and payment process profile. Now move to our another topic. That is payment process request template. A payment process request is a request to process payment based on selection criteria and processing options. Each request is processed in stages and each stage has one or more statuses. The payment for selected installment in a request are grouped into one or more payment files just like payment process request. Payment files are processed in stages. By using a template, you can minimize data entry for frequently used payment processing settings, identify cash requirements by running the payables cash requirement report against the template before submitting the template for processing. Schedule payment process requests to run on a regular basis. The video submitting a scheduled process is a narrated visual or overview of the process. Details on scheduling processes can be found in the topic submitting scheduled processes and process sets procedure. For each payment process request, you can specify selection criteria, payment attributes, processing options. Now move to our application to see how it works practically. By this concept, we can see how to automate the payment process request. With the help of payment process request, we can automate the payment based on some selection criteria. Click on Navigator, then click on Payment Workbench. Click on Go to Task List. From here, you can manage payment process request. First, we have to create the template. So click on Manage Payment Process Request Template. Click on Create icon. So this is the template from where you can give the bank details so that you don't have to select it again and again. Give the name to your template here. You can see this. You have to select pay through days from payment priority to payment priority. Again, if you want to give any specific detail here, you can give it here. By this, if you want to select any specific pay group, you want to process this request for any specific pay group, you can enable this checkbox. Then you can give the detail from here. Click on add and you can select the pay group here. Same you have to do for all the fields. If you want to select any business unit specifically, you can select from here. If you want to select any legal entity, you can select from here. I want to create this payment process request for all pay groups, so I'm selecting all. Now click on Payment and Processing Options tab. Here you have to give the disbursement bank account details. So while submitting the request for this payment process, you have to give only template name so that it can take account details from there only. You don't have to give it again and again. You have to select here the payment process profile. Click on review installments. Click on review proposed payments and click on create payment files immediately. When you submit this request, it will review your proposed payments, then review installments and create payment files immediately when you process the request. You can select the payment conversion rate type here. Fixed, spot, user rate. I'm selecting it as corporate. Now click on save and close. This is how you created the template. Now click on done. Again go to task list. Click on submit payment process request. From this page you can submit this request. You have to give the name here. Here you have to select the template that you have created in the last page. Now these fields will be automatically filled because we have selected this template here. You can see here the details that we have given while creating the template will be shown to you here. Now click on submit. Now click on manage payment process. Search here. See installment selection, pending installment selection. This is how payment process is processed. Now click on done. This is how we created payment process request. Now move to PPT for next topic. That is foreign currency invoice payments. When you enter an invoice in a currency other than your functional currency, then it means you are creating an invoice in foreign currency. Say our functional currency is USD, but you have created an invoice in the currency other than USD, then it will be considered as foreign currency. Here, Payables uses an exchange rate to convert the invoice and invoice distributions into your functional currency for creating journal entries. To assign an exchange rate to an invoice, you can manually enter the rate when you enter an invoice. Alternatively, you can have Payables enter an exchange rate from the general ledger daily rates table either by entering a rate type and rate date during invoice entry or entering them later and then use the auto rate program. So these are the setups that you have to perform in your application to perform foreign currency invoice and foreign currency invoice payment. You have to create daily rates. Then you have to enable bank account as multi-currency. And then you have to uh, give the distribution set for realized gain and loss in the common options in payable and procurement. So let's move to our application and see how it works. Go to setup and maintenance. Go to task. Select manage implementation project. Select the project on which you are working. search the task Manage Daily Rates. Click on this task. Click on Go to Task option. If you want to create a daily rate, you can do it through spreadsheet. So click on Create in Spreadsheet. Click on Open File. Enable it for editing. Here you have to give the login credentials. From which currency to which currency you want to get the daily rate. I'm selecting it as USD to currency INR. Say if 1 USD is equal to 80 INR, then you have to give the conversion rate here, that is 0.0125. Here it is asking conversion rate type. So I'm taking it as corporate. From conversion means it is asking for date. From which date to which date this rate is applicable. Now here it is asking for conversion rate. Now click on submit. Click on OK. The submission is successful. You can see here row inserted successfully. Now again go to our application. Now I have to enable the multi-currency account in the Manage Bank task. Click on Done. Here search Manage Bank. Click on this task. Click on Go to Task option. Select here, search for common options. Click on Manage Common Options for Payable and Procurement. Here you have to select the Realized Gain and Loss Distribution set. Click on Go to Task option. Here you can see here Realized Gain Distribution and Realized Loss Distribution. You have to give the distribution set through this. You can see here in the accounts it has given Realized Gain there, and the loss account you can see here realized gain is taken as account here. In the same way, you have to select realized loss in the realized loss distribution. So this is a mandatory field. You have to take it as realized gain distribution and realized loss as distribution. Now click on save and close. Search manage bank account here. Click on go to task. You have to select your bank account. Then you have to enable this checkbox, that is multi-currency account. Without enabling this checkbox, you cannot make payment in any other currency. So for making payment in foreign currency, you have to enable this checkbox, that is multi-currency account. It is already enabled here. So now click on save and close. Now we'll go to Invoice Workbench to see how it works. Go to Navigator. Click on Invoice. Click on Task List. Now click on Create Invoice. Select the supplier here. You are creating an invoice in the foreign currency that is other than USD, because USD is our functional currency. Select INR here. We are creating an invoice in INR, or also we are making a payment in INR. Now click on Show More. Here you can see this tab is active because we have selected multi-currency in bank account option. If that checkbox is disabled there, then this field will be deactivated here. By default, it is taking the currency in which we have created an invoice. Now click on expand the lines. Check the distribution set here. Click on validate. If you want to make the payment of this invoice, I have to click on force approval because I've enabled the checkbox of allow force approval. Now click on save and close. Now we will see how to make payment of this invoice. So go to payment workbench. Click on payments. Click on task list. Now click on create payment. Check the supplier here. Select the disbursement bank account. Select the payment currency here. I want to make the payment of that invoice in INR. Search the invoices that are due for payment. It is selecting only the invoice that have pending due in INR. Select this invoice, click on apply. Now click on OK. Click on save and close. This is how we can make payment in INR, that is in our foreign currency. Move to our PPT. We need to do the same setups for cross currency invoice payment. That is create daily rates. Then you have to enable bank account as multi-currency. Then you have to take the distribution set as realized gain and realized loss and realized gain and loss respectively. Now we'll see how to create invoice for this. Cross currency means when you are creating an invoice in the one currency and making payment in other currency. To our application, go to Invoice Workbench. Click on Create Invoice. Give the number to invoice here. Click on Show More. Now say we are creating an invoice in USD, but we want to make the payment of this invoice in INR. Then select here in the payment currency field INR. Click on Expand Lines. Select the distribution set here. Click on Validate. Approve this invoice. Click on Save and Close. So this is how we created an invoice in cross currency. The same way we did the payment in our foreign currency invoice, we can make payment in the same way for this cross currency invoice. Go to Payment Workbench. Click on Task List. Click on Create Payment. Select the supplier here. Select the disbursement bank account. This was the bank account where we enable the multi-currency checkbox. Now you have created the invoice in USD, but you have to make the payment in INR. So select INR here. Select the payment process profile here. Select and add the invoice that are due for payment. Now you can see there are two invoices whose payment is due in INR. So select this invoice that we have created in cross currency. Click on apply. Then click on OK. And then click on save and close. This is the manner we can create invoice in cross currency and also create payment for it in cross currency. So these are the topics that we have covered today. Thank you so much. If you have any query, then reach out to us at www.bispsolutions.com. Thank you so much.